youtube.com/the Derrick Lamon Experience, one-stop shop for your gaming news. Also, if you're listening to this on the free feeds, you can subscribe to the Patreon for exclusive audio and video content, as well as some stuff coming up from my little one. She has a tier, so she produces her own content. She's very excited about what she has coming up for the future. So make sure you guys head on over to Patreon and subscribe. This episode is going to be in two parts. It'll all be in the same episode, but I'm recording it at different times. So in this first portion, I'm going to talk about news of the week, and then the second portion will be dedicated to wrapping up the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. So I'm recording this on Tuesday evening, this first part, and then the Direct will be tomorrow morning. I have to remember to check my time. But very excited about it. Hoping to see some really cool stuff as far as the Switch 2 goes. Very, very excited about it going forward. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the news really quickly. We want to send congratulations. Kingdom Hearts veteran to be awarded special prize at BAFTA. Yoko Shimomura's decade of work include Final Fantasy, Street Fighter 2, and more. Yoko, the composer behind Final Fantasy 15, Xenoblade Chronicles, and Kingdom Hearts, is to be honored with a special award at this year's BAFTA Game Awards. Shimomura will receive the BAFTA Fellowship, making her making her contribution to the video game industry over the years. Shimomura's credits include the Kingdom Hearts series, Final Fantasy 15, Mario and Luigi, Xenoblade Chronicles, Streets of Rage, the Mana series, Super Mario RPG, Live Alive, Radiant, Historia, Parasite Eve, Breather of Fire, and Street Fighter 2. Shimomura said, quote, I am delighted to receive such an amazing and prestigious award as this, although honestly speaking, I still cannot quite believe it. I think she deserves it. She's done excellent work. She continues to say, quote, I am who I am today thanks to all the people who supported me, allowing me to continue being involved with the music that I love and discovering the medium of games where the music can flourish. I am deeply grateful to everyone in the games industry, to those who asked me to write my music, and to allow those to listen to it. I would like for them and for everyone who has been a part of my life to join with me in celebrating this award. Thank you so much. Former BAFTA Fellowship winners include Shuhei Yoshida, Warwick Davis, Hideo Kojima, Dame Judi Dench, Vanessa Redgrave, Martin Scorsese, Gabe Newell, Siobhan Reedy, Helen Mirren, Hideo Kojima again, Tim Schafer, Shigeru Miyamoto, John Carmack, Peter Molyneux, and Thelma Schoonmaker. The 2025 BAFTA Game Awards nominations were announced earlier this month, with Xbox's Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 leading with 11 nominations. Congratulations to them. Followed by PlayStation's Astrobot and the Chinese Room's Still Wakes the Deep with 8 each. The winners will be announced at the 21st BAFTA Game Awards in London on Tuesday, April 8th, which will stream live on BAFTA's YouTube and Twitch. I can't even begin to tell you what these times are. They don't have them in U.S. time zones, so I can't even begin. But I guess if you go to the BAFTA YouTube or Switch channel, I'm pretty sure they may have like a pre-link where you can kind of click on it to be reminded when the show goes live. I would assume. I don't know. Check that out. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the stories. There's a couple of lists that I want to go through really, really quickly. DualShockers.com has released 10 games that justify buying a PS5 Pro. The immediate response to the PlayStation 5 Pro wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, which is fair considering the abysmal number of first-party titles in the base console in the first place. This has been a bad generation for PlayStation. We're not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. And I'm a fan of, like I said, I primarily play in the PlayStation ecosystem, but I also have a Switch and multiple Xboxes as well. It's been paltry offerings. Certain games, here's the thing. If you're looking for certain games, you're not going to find them on any platform this generation. So, but I will say that Microsoft has had a very steady output of first-party titles, even though they are going now to PlayStation and Nintendo. But at the same time, there hasn't been much from PlayStation first-party. A lot of second-party stuff, but not too much that I was interested in playing. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a third-party title. It's a Square Enix title. It's not a PlayStation Studios project, so I don't know. In the console space, it is exclusive to the PlayStation 5. Be that as it may, again, this has not been a great generation for Sony first-party games. Anyway, having said that, who is this? Having said that again, The article goes on to say, don't get me wrong, I prefer playing cozily on my PS5 over my fairly powerful PC, but when I saw the PS5 Pro release, it left a sour taste in my mouth because, well, what game am I playing on it to notice the difference? That said, I've prepared a list of 10 games that justify buying a PS5 Pro. Hopefully, this will give you your money's worth on the upgrade, and I actually prefer to play these on the Pro myself for their noticeable difference benefits. Number 10, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. One of the best RPGs of 2025. Open Critic, 89 out of 100. Critics recommend, 96%. Platforms, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and X, and PC. That was released February 4th by Warhouse Studios and published by Deep Silver. Game runs smoothly on the base PS5, but on the Pro, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 combines performance and quality modes in one setting to allow for an upscale 2160 resolution at 60 frame rate. So, I'm not gonna play that game. I'm just being very honest about it. I don't know about you guys. It's just not for me. Number 9, Black Myth Wukong. Open top critic 81 out of 100. Critics recommend 81%. Platforms PlayStation 5 and PC. That was released August 20th of 2024. While the game is arguably a resounding success, what about its visual quality and performance? Yeah, not so much. Don't get it wrong. It's incredibly fun to play, but even now it's plagued with some graphical issues. Okay. Base PS5 was notorious for having incredibly blurry image quality, and it didn't help that they later implemented poor upscaling tech that made some environmental textures look muddier than before. PS5 Pro doesn't really iron out those issues, but it makes the game vastly cleaner. This makes the justification for Wukong on the Pro slightly debatable, which is why I've put it at the bottom of my list. I don't. It's just it felt kind of Souls-ish, and I'm not a Souls fan, and I've said that multiple times here, so it just wasn't for me. Number 8, Stellar Blade. Open critic. I'm sorry, actually, top critic 82 out of 100. Critics recommend by 83%. Platforms PlayStation 5, released April 26th of last year. Developed by Shift Up, published by Sony Interactive. Despite what many may acclaim, I enjoyed my time with Stellar Blade, especially because some parts reminded me of gritty old school action RPGs from the PS3 era. It does have a PS3 kind of feel to it. That was one thing I noticed while playing it as well. If you're sporting a high refresh rate display, turn on the unlocked frame rate option for additional smoothness. Let it be clear, the Stellar Blade still looks and performs silky smooth on the base PS5, but if you're looking to refine the presentation, the PS5 Pro shines in that department here. There are many options, but the best one is the new Pro mode, which offers the best of both performance and quality, clear distance imagery, sharper visuals, and a locked 60 FPS frame rate. So dope. Number 7, Spider-Man 2. Insomniac are technological wizards. I will tell you that I did play. Obviously, I played it originally on the base PS5, and then the New Game Plus, I played on the base PS5 because the PS5 Pro was not out yet. I did go in and check it out on the PS5 Pro, and I can say it does look great. Top critic rating 88 out of 100. Critics recommend 91%. Platforms PlayStation 5 and PC. Released October 20th of 2023. Developer Insomniac Games, publisher Sony Interactive Entertainment. I'll say up front that I wasn't the biggest fan of Spider-Man 2 past its honeymoon period. The story felt rushed and poorly paced, but hey, I still enjoyed my time with it. I understand why Harry Osborn was Venom. Obviously, you had to play off of what they did in the last game. I would have loved to have seen Eddie Brock in there somewhere. There were some dope things in the story. There was some cool stuff in the side quests. Overall, the ending did feel a bit rushed. I definitely felt like Kraven was a phenomenal villain. He was the villain that we deserved. But where would I put it versus Spider-Man 2018? I still have Spider-Man 2018 first. I have Spider-Man 2 second. I have Miles Morales at third because it's shorter. That's all. But I do love Spider-Man 2. I won't take anything away from it. The article goes on to say, moreover, Insomniac has never failed to create their games with such stunning and impressive detail, much like Sony's other first-party studios like Naughty Dog and Santa Monica. Excluding the recent controversies regarding the PC port, Spider-Man 2 received some fantastic enhancements for the PS5 Pro, most notably its Performance Pro mode, which offers the benefits of the base fidelity mode at a locked 60 frames per second frame rate. This means you're getting that sharp 4K resolution with the standard ray tracing features enabled, but if you want, you can use Fidelity Pro and adjust some ray tracing options to maximize your frame rate, especially on a VRR display. It makes the game deserving of another playthrough solely because Insomniac managed to harness the processing power of the PS5 Pro to its full extent, a fear that's also noticeable in other titles like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. You do see the sharpness, particularly in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, especially on that very first level, and I think that's why they chose that for when they showed off the Pro. They showed off that first level. Mm. Number 6, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Cal Kestis and BD1's deserved makeover. I have this on Xbox Series X as well as PlayStation 5 Pro. I just started playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order again on PlayStation 5 Pro because when I played that, I played it on the Xbox One X because this came out in 2019. Um, will tell you so far, Jedi Fallen Order looks great on the PS5 Pro. I love the dual sense feel of the blasters and the lightsaber and stuff like that. And I wish that I'd originally played it on PlayStation, but no big deal. Still feels good. Anyway, top critic rating 84 out of 100. Critics recommend 89%. Platforms PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S. Released April 28th of 2023. Respawn Entertainment, published by Electronic Arts. As someone who adored the previous game, Jedi Survivor turned out to be a great sequel that was ultimately held back by its hideous performance issues and bugs. Thankfully, the game's overall quality improved with numerous updates, but what helped the game more recently was its official PS5 Pro patch, primarily thanks to the console's exclusive PSSR technology. I'm not going to go too much deep into this. Interesting. I'm going to move on to number 5. Number 5, Grand Theft Auto 6, the biggest hype of this generation. A game that's not even out yet. I know it's technically unconfirmed whether or not it's coming this year or next, but despite not being released yet, GTA 6 is a game that will undoubtedly benefit from the PlayStation 5's Pro power. The game itself has become one of the most anticipated titles in the entire industry. If it seemingly crosses the boundary set by Red Dead Redemption 2, we're looking at Rockstar's most immersive video games yet. Everyone's hoping and praying that it runs just as smoothly on the base PS5 without sacrificing either performance or resolution for the other, but just to be safe, the PS5 Pro is a worthwhile gamble. Many developers are taking advantage of the Pro's PSSR tech, and with Rockstar looking to make it big, they'll definitely provide exclusive enhancements for players who jump into GTA 6 on the PS5 Pro. This is not an issue for me because all Rockstar games I always play on a PlayStation console first. I may play them on Xbox and PC later. I have Red Dead Redemption on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. I have, Red Dead Redemption 2. I have Red Dead Redemption on PlayStation, Xbox, and I don't have it on PC or Switch yet. But I always go for the PlayStation version yet, so I can't wait to see what this looks like on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Number 4, Dragon's Dogma 2. Top critic rating, 87 out of 100. Critics recommend 91%. Platforms, PC, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. Released March 22nd of 2024. Developer and publisher Capcom. On the base PS5, it felt like the cheapest Capcom title to date. The game ran poorly in performance mode and had a horrendous resolution, making the whole thing feel like a slop fest. However, it's safe to say it's easily worth picking up again on the Pro because with the recent patches since the initial Pro update, the game runs and looks flawless in both graphical modes. Consensus is that using a balanced mode on a VRR supported display with HFR enabled is the best bang for your buck, but don't expect the frame rate to be completely stable. You'll still get those occasional dips during intensive areas. Number 3, Assassin's Creed Shadows. I haven't played this yet, but I'm actually thinking about it. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PC, released March 20th of 2025. Developer, Ubisoft Quebec, publisher Ubisoft. AC Shadows unexpectedly shattered expectations, becoming one of the most successful games in the series, despite what many may want you to assume about it online. Here's the bit that makes it such a justifiable title to play on the Pro. Shadows uses completely different lighting and ray tracing tech for the quality mode setting. You'd be almost surprised, just like me, by the night and day difference here. Number 2, Monster Hunter Wilds. Not a fan, not even going to go into it, but it's on the list. And then number 1, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Desperately needed that polish. It didn't look terrible on the base Pro. On the base PS5, I'm sorry. Top critic rating, 93 out of 100. Critics recommend 99%. Platforms, PlayStation 5 and PC. Release date, February 29th of 2024. Published and developed by Square Enix. Despite that controversial ending, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth still became one of my favorite games of the past year thanks to its encapsulating open-world design, rich soundtrack, and adoring cast of characters. However, a sacrifice that felt like the most bitter thing to commit was playing it in quality mode on my base PS5. That's because you end up ruining the game for yourself with its blurry performance mode despite crisp frame rates. I know it's improved since then to an extent, but I'll admit right here that this game was one of the main reasons for my sooner than later upgrade to the Pro. Rebirth cinematics are among the most beautiful pieces of animation in a video game. Intricate details like face models, background LOD and environmental textures matter a great deal here, especially when exploring the world. The PS5 Pro comes with a new versatility mode, which combines the benefits of the original two modes, but the Pro's quality mode is still there if you want the maximum image quality and notice those finer details. Yet again, it's not perfect like most games. You might see rare shimmering effects, but in the grand scheme, it is one of the best games to play on your PS5 Pro to harness its raw power. So again, those are 10 games that justify the purchase of a PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, I have Game Informer's belated top 10 games of 2024 awards. Remember, Game Informer was shut down last year. It has been relaunched. The website is live, so you guys can go check that out. I'm not going to go into detail, just going to run through the list. Number 10, Helldivers 2. Heard great things. Number 9, Marvel Rivals. Number 8, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. Haven't heard of this one. I'll have to look into that. Number 7, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Number 6, 1000 Times Resist. Number 5, Animal Well. Number 4, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Number 3, Metaphor ReFantasio. Number 2, Balatro. And number 1, Astrobot. I love Astrobot. I love Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, I only played a little bit of it. Marvel Rivals touched it for like 20 minutes and it was not for me. They do have other categories, additional category winners: Best Nintendo Exclusive, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Best Xbox Exclusive, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I can definitely vouch for that. Best Developer, Local Thunk, and they did Balatro. Best Publisher, Sega Atlas. Best VR, Batman Arkham Shadow. Best Action, Stellar Blade. Best Moment, Destiny 2's Avengers Endgame Moment. Best Hero, Indica from Indica. Best Villain, Emmerich Voss from Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Best Dork, Captain Boomerang from Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Best DLC expansion, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Best sports game, WWE 2K24. Not mad at that. Actually, college football, I would have went with college football 25, but I don't get a vote, so. Best fighting game, Tekken 8. Best horror game, Mouthwashing. Best adaptation, Fallout, of course. And that's it for their list of belated topics from 2024. We are happy that Game Informer's back. I hope that this actually lasts. There's been quite a conversation about what's going on with the company that's actually fronting the money for Game Informer, and we're all having the same question. Ooh, the Blues and the Red Wings are playing. Gotta be watching that one. Moving right along, this comes from our friends over at Insider Gaming. Naughty Dog has been working on an unannounced game for 3 years, it's claimed. Naughty Dog was most recently in the news after Neil Druckmann kind of suggested that there might not be another Last of Us game. He later explained on those comments by stressing that he'll take each project as it comes and that right now the team is focused on delivering Intergalactic and all new IP. I want to pause right here and say, number one, Neil Druckmann may think he's done with The Last of Us. The Last of Us 2 The Last of Us Season 2 will debut on Max, I think like the 13th or something. It's a cash cow. Neil may think he's done. Sony's not done. I'll tell you that right now. So Neil Druckmann might move on to work on another title after Intergalactic, and somebody else at Naughty Dog may help a team that does that, but they're not giving up on The Last of Us right now. I'm sorry, that's just not going to happen. Number two, we've been hearing rumors that Intergalactic will not release on the PlayStation 5. They're saying that's a 2027 title. That would put us at the PlayStation 6, in my opinion. So, I don't know. And the Cardinals just scored. All right. Anyway, back to the article. However, a recent claim from an insider might point to Naughty Dog working on something else in secret. Per a recent report, it seems Naughty Dog has a game in the works that has been taking shape for more than 3 years. It's being led by Sean Escaig, who formerly directed Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Were they cooking? The claim is that Naughty Dog is working on an unannounced game that has been in development for 3 years. Comes from Daniel RPK. The report was posted on their Patreon, paywalled, and since shared more publicly by the game post. It reads, quote, Naughty Dog has a second project. It's not The Last of Us 3, directed by Sean Escaig. It's been in development for 3 years now. Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann explained after his Don't Bet Him in comments that even The Last of Us felt so definitive that he didn't foresee making a follow-up title. We may see The Last of Us Part 3 in the future, but like the man said, it would need the stars to align for that to happen. They need to do it before Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson. There could come a point where they don't want to do it, and their voices are iconic. Well, I don't know what you would need Troy for. Maybe like flashback clips and stuff like that. I don't know how much of a presence he would have unless they really did that idea of prequel slash sequel where some of it covers what Joel and Tommy did during the outbreak and stuff like that, and then the rest of it is like, I think they could go Godfather 2-ish, where it's Ellie and Abby and Lev or whatever in present day, and then Joel and Tommy in previous days. So I don't know. We'll see. Like Michael in the present day in The Godfather 2, and then Don Vito and the previous time in The Godfather 2. In the meantime, Naughty Dog is allegedly working on something new and unknown, and is being led by someone with strong ties to Uncharted. We've heard rumors of Uncharted, just saying. The last major Uncharted game was Uncharted 4: Thieves' End, released back in 2016. Naughty Dog said they were done with Uncharted. But what did I say? That doesn't mean Sony's done with Uncharted. Just saying. Lost Legacy surfaced a year later as a standalone DLC with similar operating model employed for The Last of Us and the Left Behind expansion. It hasn't been suggested that something related to Uncharted is in development. There were rumors recently regarding a game starring Cassie Drake, Nathan Drake's daughter, in the series. Cassie was played in previous titles by Caitlin Dever, who coincidentally is still tied to Naughty Dog by the way of her role as Abby in the upcoming second series of HBO's The Last of Us. I don't know what the game is. I really don't. I don't know if it's a brand new IP. We're told that it's not The Last of Us, but who the hell knows? You know what I mean? But if nothing else, this should be very, very interesting, and I'm anxious to see if this is real, and if it is real, what the hell is it is my question. I don't know. In other news, GameStop plans to close a significant number of stores and invest into Bitcoin. They've been robbing people for years. Just call it. Just call it. Just fucking call it at this point. I just don't get it, but whatever. This comes from our friends over at IGN, the very few we have over there now. GameStop has announced it will be closing more stores and also making a change to its investment policy. The video game retailer is getting into Bitcoin as it's added to the cryptocurrency as a treasury reserve asset. In a recent filing, GameStop confirmed it will be closing an unspecified but significant number of stores in fiscal year 2025. The specific set of stores has not been identified for closure. Around the same time, GameStop announced its board has unanimously approved an update to its investment policy, adding Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset. In the aforementioned filing, the company said a portion of its cash or future debt and equity issuance may be invested in Bitcoin. GameStop has not set a maximum amount of Bitcoin it can accumulate and said it may sell any Bitcoin it acquires. Now, GameStop has gone through several rounds of closures already. Per CNN, the U.S. has seen 590 locations shut down and the overall count reduced to 2,325 as of February the 1st. The global stands at 3,203, down from a peak of roughly 6,000. In March 2024, the company announced job cuts and analysts seemed skeptical revenues could rebound. The Bitcoin adoption is curious as GameStop already tried to launch a cryptocurrency wallet, which had shut down after a little over a year. Still, GameStop has also found itself at the center of sudden stock surges. Per Axios, GameStop did trade up 15% in the late morning after the announcement of Bitcoin plans, even as companies like Microsoft have voted down similar proposals. In some tangential GameStop news, its former magazine, Game Informer, was recently resurrected under Gonzilla Games. The magazine has been reestablished with all the staff laid off on its last day, returning, and plans to renew efforts across physical and digital. And of course, we just covered GameStop's best games of 2020. I'm sorry, Game Informer's best games of 2024. For GameStop, none better for them. I hate that people are going to lose their jobs, but at the same time, they screwed people over. Here's a story. Cousin was seeing this girl and he bought her kids Christmas gifts, and before he could give them to them, he and the girl stopped seeing each other. So he had it was like the brand new Skylanders game still on the plastic wrap, and then there was a box with like little Skylanders figures that came with it, also still on the plastic wrap. Now, this game was at least $60. I don't know if you had to pay more for the figurines, but at either rate, base game $60. He gives it to me. He's like, hey, give this to Ken. I'm like, she's 4. She's not going to play this. So I took it up to GameStop. He's like, get rid of it then. I took it up to GameStop. They're like, we'll give you $30 for it. Both of them still in the plastic. Then they turned around, and I guarantee, because it was still in the plastic, turned around and sold it at brand new. They will take games, oh, it's like new, $55. It's pre-owned. Yeah, but it's like new. No. No. I've seen people take stacks of games in there, and they'll be like, I can give you $10 for it. We're talking 30, 40 games. They're like, I'll give you $10 for it. So what's happening to GameStop, I do not feel bad for them. I feel bad for the employees who are going to lose their job, unfortunately. But for the company as a whole, no, don't care. Just don't give a shit. They did this to themselves. They've been fucking people over for years. The chickens have come home to roost, or whatever the fuck that saying is. So get it how you live. Anyway, moving right along, this comes from GamesRadar.com, and this is about the Nintendo Direct of last week, which was a snooze fest in my idea. Also, at the same time, really quickly, I'm not a console war guy, and the console war is effectively over. Phil Spencer and other people at Microsoft have said so. This whole thing about Sony's going third party because they're releasing Patapon and everybody Hotshot Golf on the Nintendo Switch is absolutely ridiculous. When was the last time there was a new Patapon game? Number one, right? I totally forgot about Patapon until they had the Patapon level in Astrobot. Couldn't tell you the last time I heard anybody mention everybody's Hot Shot Golf. Those games will probably do well on the Nintendo Switch. I think people are being absolutely ridiculous and asinine when it comes to this stuff. So I don't know. Anyway, Nintendo quietly confirms Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games as a separate thing to console exclusives following Virtual Game Card's big reveal. Could Switch 1 games potentially get upgrades on the Switch 2? Before yesterday's Direct, Nintendo was adamant that no news about the Switch 2 would be revealed during the presentation. The aftermath of one of its more surprising announcements may have given away a crucial bit of information about the next console and the games we can expect to play on it. Namely, it appears that Nintendo could be hinting that Switch 2 versions of Switch 1 games will be a thing. Amongst the latest news about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, a new Rhythm Heaven game, and much more, Nintendo unveiled Virtual Game Cards, a feature which will let you share your digital games with another of your consoles and even lend games to friends and family. This is planned to roll out on current Switch consoles in late April as well as Switch 2 in the future, but it's the fine print on the feature's compatibility with the new console that's turning heads. So the more that people have looked into this, it's not as great as Nintendo made it seem in that Direct, which is par for the course for Nintendo. Again, you're going to hear this first part, and then there's going to be a very brief break or something like that, and then you'll hear the second part while I recap the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. I want to see new games. I would like to see a 3D Mario Kart, a new Zelda game. It would be awesome if we saw an Ocarina of Time remake or something like that. I don't care. I just want to see new games running on the new hardware. I know what the system looks like. It would be cool if they had some sort of achievement system. I know that they have the new app. I do have it on my phone. I think that maybe the console, like via an app update, the app and the console could work in tandem, like your Xbox app and your Xbox consoles, or the Game Pass app with your consoles and PCs, or the PlayStation app with your PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. They need to work in concert like that. As far as this stuff, very, very interesting. So apparently Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games and Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games can only be loaded on the Nintendo Switch 2 system. Nintendo states on its webpage explaining the new feature. Switch 2 exclusive games we knew about, of course, but Switch 2 Edition. The fact that this is stated as something separate to an exclusive game suggests that this is a different version of a game that'll already exist in some other way. Well, does that mean that Nintendo is finally going to allow us to play games that we've already owned on new hardware? The last time they did that, the Wii, you could play GameCube disc on the Wii, and on the side of the console they had a GameCube controller ports. When they got to the Wii U, I'm pretty sure it did not play Wii games. I'm almost certain it didn't. I can't remember exactly. It used the nunchuck and the Wii remote, but I don't think it played Wii games. I can't remember. I have to go back and check on that. Actually, fuck it. I'm here right now. Why the fuck not? Can a Wii U play Wii games? Oh, yes, the Wii U will play games from the original Wii, but you'll need a Wii remote and nunchuck. So, okay. So they did believe in backwards compatibility at one point, but there's a lot of, like, the stuff you bought on Virtual Console and the Wii, that stuff should have been available on your Wii U. I should not have had to buy the game again on the Wii U. The Virtual Console purchase should have moved on over. So, anyway. Let's see. Where are we at? I'm sorry. We already knew that Switch 2 will be backwards compatible with the Switch 1 games, seemingly most of them at least, but this suggests that it might not simply be a case of loading up those games and having the exact same experience that you would on the older console. Excuse me, could Nintendo be planning some new gen upgrades like we've seen on the PS5 and Xbox Series X, for example, or potentially even releasing enhanced Switch 2 versions of upcoming games like Pokemon Legends Z and A alongside their regular Switch releases? Alternatively, a Switch 2 edition game could simply refer to the Switch 2 release of a title that's also launching on other platforms like PlayStation or Xbox. For now, we'll just have to wait and see. Um, I somebody I can't remember if it was Paris Games Week or Tokyo Game Show or whatever it was. Somebody said they saw Breath of the Wild running on the new hardware, or what it would look like, because they didn't actually see the Switch 2 at that time because it was before Nintendo let us see what the thing looked like. But apparently they saw Breath of the Wild running on the new hardware and it apparently looked better. That leads me to believe there is a Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild, and they're not going to give it to us. We're not just going to pop it in, and it's going to be that I think you're going to have to pay for it. And I would almost bet that there's also a version of Tears of the Kingdom, and I would almost bet that they're going to release a fucking bundle where you get both of them. I would almost bet. Just saying. We shall see. And speaking of that, let's see. Um, where's this at? There was some news of there being a bundle of The Last of Us Part 1, the PS5 version, with The Last of Us Part 2, PS5 remaster. Apparently, they were going to release them together on one disc, and we're talking like $100 or something like that. I didn't save the story, so I don't have it, but we'll put that, as far as grain of salt goes, we'll put it in that category until we actually see it, but who knows. And then we have a story from our friends over at Game Rant. This is a rumor, so this should have gone in grain of salt as well. There was a leak that shows off Respawn's new Star Wars game. Leaked images appear to reveal a new tactical Star Wars game developed by Respawn and Bit Reactor. The images show turn-based combat with Mandalorians resembling XCOM gameplay. The game is set to be officially revealed on April 19th. Um, the history of Star Wars games has always been a mixed bag, with some exceptional titles mixed in with some middling releases. In recent times, the Star Wars Jedi series has been a highlight, while Ubisoft's Star Wars Outlaws found better critical success than it did commercial. The franchise has even crossed over into other games, with a new rumor suggesting that Fortnite will soon be crossing over with Star Wars again. That happens like yearly at this point. According to MP First, new images of Respawn and Bit Reactor's tactical Star Wars game have been leaked from an artist's portfolio, giving fans some important information about the upcoming title, including its development codename, Star Wars Bruno. The image shows players in turn-based combat playing as Mandalorians fighting clone troopers, as well as headquarters in a location named the Kafrene Mining Colony, with options for the Armory, Hollow Table, Special Ops, and the Black Market. In terms of gameplay, it looks more like XCOM than Star Wars Empire at War, the franchise's last attempt at a tactical title. Um, are these the images? No, these are Battlefront images. It has already been confirmed that Respawn and Bit Reactor Star Wars game will be revealed on the 19th, so fans don't have long to wait to see it in action. If these images are in fact real, and they do appear to be, they should be taken with a pinch of salt, according to MP First. The images from the artist's portfolio are dated to mid 2023, meaning they come from a much older build of the game. Plenty could have changed since then. It'll be interesting to see exactly what has been altered. Star Wars video games are in an interesting place at the moment. There are plenty of Star Wars games confirmed to be in development, but very little is known about any of them right now, leaving fans feeling slightly in the dark. Hopefully, the upcoming Star Wars Celebration convention in Japan will shed some light on these titles and what they'll feature. There was a time, I believe it was EA had like the exclusive license to make Star Wars games, and we got both of the Battlefront games, and we got Jedi Star Wars Fallen Order, and then I think the license expired before Jedi Survivor came out. But then that's when you saw Star Wars Outlaws come from Ubisoft, and we're getting more. Um, I'm not into tactical games. I'm just not. So it's a no for me already. I'm not gonna play it. I do want to see what it looks like, but I know I'm not gonna fucking play this game. I'm just being completely honest. Like, there's no point. Like, I didn't like Persona Tactica. Um, I just I don't know. I don't know. Here's the article though about the Sony game. So The Last of Us might get a new special edition on PS5. This is a rumor. While more details are currently unknown, rumors indicate this new bundle will be announced and put up for pre-orders in 2 months, which will put it right around the time of when Sony will be doing a summer showcase. While The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is on its way to PC later this week, it looks like Naughty Dog isn't done yet selling copies of the game to PS5 players just yet. Known leaker Bill Bacune took Deal Labs, to talk about Naughty Dog preparing for a new special edition release of the game. Um, it is worth noting that the leak doesn't specify which one of the two games in the franchise will be a part of the new release. In their post, Bill Bacune posts that it could be either The Last of Us Part 1, The Last of Us Part 2, or potentially a bundle of both titles. Let me pause right there. There's already physical copies of both of them out there, so the bundle makes the most sense. I don't know why you will re-release Part 1 now. That just doesn't make any sense. The physical, like, we know that that game was basically remade. They said for people who didn't get a chance to experiences on the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4, but also it was coming to PC right around the time The Last of Us was airing on Max. So we know that they wanted to promote that show as well. Article goes on to say, according to our information, a new special edition of the game from the franchise is being prepared with a physical release on PS5. However, we have not yet been able to determine which it is. Would it be for the first part, the second part, or even for a hypothetical part 3? We know it's not part 3 yet. Okay, only the future will tell us. Speculation might be fun. It's highly unlikely that Naughty Dog has been able to work on a third title in the franchise with this degree of secrecy. Price, according to the leak, will sit around $109.99. So 110. That's not. We know that they killed off the online version. I'm guessing it's just a bundle of the first two. Pricing would indicate that this new release would be a bundle of both games. It is also possible this might be a special bundle that also includes elements from the TV adaptation of The Last of Us. The special edition bundle is rumored to be announced relatively soon, and pre-orders are expected to start off over the next couple of months. This time frame would indicate Sony might unveil it in either late May or early June, summer showcase. Interestingly, the time frame will also end up covering the runtime for the second season of the TV adaptation of The Last of Us. In the meantime, both Naughty Dog and Sony, alongside support studios Iron Galaxy and Nixxes, are getting ready for the April 3rd PC release of The Last of Us Part 2. Naughty Dog also confirmed recently The Last of Us Part 2 PC's release has been Steam Deck verified. By the time you guys hear this, it will be out on PC, by the way. On paper, this is supposed to mean that not only will The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered run on the Steam Deck, but will also include special features for the handheld gaming platform, including optimized settings and UI modifications options to account for the smaller display. The PC specs that will be required to run The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered have also been revealed, ranging from modest hardware like Intel Core's i7 9700K and AMD's Ryzen 7 3700X, to more recent hardware like Intel's iCore i7 11700 and AMD's Ryzen 7 5700X when it came to CPUs. Game also includes support for PC-specific features, including super sampling through DLSS 3 and FSR4, as well as support for ultra-wide displays across a host of aspect ratios, from 21.9 to 32.9, even 48.9. There's no point for me to buy it on PC because they don't have separate trophies for console and PC. If they did, then a lot of the PlayStation games that I love the game on PC, I would replay them. But there's no separate trophy, so it's like, I don't know. It'd be playing them just to play them. I do want to add that all of the Spider-Man games are on my wish list. I think it's either an Epic Game Store or Steam. I can't remember. It may be in both of them. I don't fucking know. Um, but I just haven't pulled the trigger. And it's crazy because I say that, and that's weird because, like I said, I've played Red Dead Redemption 2 on Xbox, on the PlayStation, and on PC. So does it really matter? Probably not. So will I buy it? Probably so. Who knows? And lastly, this last article comes from our good friends over at IGN. Again, not many over there anymore. Former Sony exec says it's about time for PlayStation to reconsider its focus on cutting edge graphics. Absolutely not. Former PlayStation, what the fuck was that about? Former PlayStation executive Shuhei Yoshida has been sharing quite a few insights on the games industry since his departure from Sony. Among them, he says it might be time for Sony to reconsider its adherence to cutting edge graphics. In an interview with AV Watch, translated via Genki_JPN, Yoshida said it's time for PlayStation to reconsider its focus. Quote, up until now, PlayStation's DNA has been driven by values such as cutting-edge graphics that have continued since Ken Kutaragi's time. Yoshida said users have also expected that from PlayStation games. However, it's about time we have to reconsider that. Of course, I think it's necessary to provide the very best in terms of graphical quality to those who want it, Yoshida continued, but in order to continue to be popular with users in a broad sense, we naturally have to change our way of thinking. Pause. No, you don't. You really don't. Because Fortnite is not groundbreaking in its graphical fidelity. If they want fun games like that, go play Fortnite. If they want fun games that are not like super graphical, play Sifu, play Kena Bridge of Spirits. Those are games where they don't look super fucking lifelike. It's not like those games don't exist. They exist. The article goes on to say there's little doubt games like Horizon Forbidden West, Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us Part 2, or other major Sony exclusives have put a lot of focus into graphical fidelity. Yet Yoshida's comments indicate it might be time to reconsider the approach. Whether that's a focus on relatively smaller experiences like Astrobot, which has great graphical fidelity, or a complete pivot to lo-fi or stylized graphics is not suggested, but with the price of making big AAA games like those in Sony's stable seemingly only going up, fresh approaches might be welcome. There's room for both. There's room for smaller experiences like a Sifu or something like that to tide people over until you get to the big tentpole titles. Horizon, God of War, whatever's coming from Naughty Dog, whatever's coming from Insomniac. You have to have those smaller studios do their part in between. But also, to that I say this. You cannot waste years of a generation with everybody, with all these studios trying to make live service games and then canceling them. That's the biggest problem. And Shuhei was there, so he knows that. And I don't know, it's like you don't work there anymore, so if you want to speak ill of what they did up at PlayStation, you're well within your rights to. I don't know why they keep hiding behind the lies that were told to us by Sony from the first time we saw the PlayStation 5 back in June of 2020. Like, we expected greatness. The generation started off incredibly. We got Miles Morales, we got Ratchet and Clank in June of 21. We got what else did we get? Gran Turismo 7, God of War Ragnarok. Now, most of these games were cross-gen, but I mean, the generation still started off great, and then in the middle, it's just like, kind of hit a snag. Don't know what we're doing. Anyway, this isn't the only insight Yoshida has shared in his interview rounds. The former PlayStation exec also discussed Nier Automata's impact on the game industry, especially in Japan. Whether that's the blueprint for a renewed approach to games or not, I certainly wouldn't complain about more games like Nier Automata going forward. I think that Sony, again, has to find the perfect mix. I think they need to understand that what they did was a mistake, trying to make all those live service titles and none of them launching, or very few of them, and then Concord launching and being an absolute disaster. I think they have to understand that they made a mistake and they have to rectify that. They do need to have smaller titles, whether they're first party or second party. If it's third party, then it really doesn't matter. But they do need to have smaller titles to fill in those gaps between a game like a Wolverine or whatever's coming. It's so bad because everybody was working on a game, and now all those studios have put all those years and time and effort and resources into the live service God of War the Bluepoint was doing, the army shooter or military shooter that apparently Sony Ben was doing, or that I think it was Fire Sprite who was working on the Twisted Metal game that got canceled. I can't remember. All those games are canceled. Now all those studios have to figure out a new project, pitch it to Sony, get funded, and then start. It's like this generation, and it wouldn't have been a mistake if they had just stuck to what they knew. A few live service games wouldn't have been bad, but when all this talk started in the generation, a lot of us, and not just me, people on other gaming podcasts, Weapon Wheel podcast, for example, we all said, hey, this is a mistake. This is a mistake. And here we are. So, I don't know. Anyway, that's going to do it for the first half of the show. Stay tuned, because right after the break, I will be recapping the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct in just a second. Just finished the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. Round of applause for the Big N. They showed up and they showed the fuck out. I was thoroughly impressed by what we saw. There was one thing that I was wanting. Actually, we'll say two, three things. One in particular, the other two, I'm just like, I think that, you should be there at the beginning. But let's go ahead and get into it. First thing they showed off was the Mario Kart game they showed in the Nintendo Switch 2 teaser. It's kind of like history repeating itself. When they showed off the Nintendo Switch, they showed off that Mario Kart teaser, and that's when we find out, oh, you can hold two items, and it's got all the tracks and all the DLC and stuff like that. So it's Mario Kart World. It looks absolutely fucking phenomenal. Hats off to the team. It's truly a world map. Truly a world map. 24 drivers in each race. This is insane. Like, absolutely insane. Do you know the kind of shit you can get into online with your friends? And I'm going to get to that in just a second, the online stuff. You actually drive from one race to the next. So, like, you finish, like, in standard Mario Kart right now, you finish the race and then it goes to a menu and this, that, and the third until the next race, like, loads up. This one, no, you drive from one race to the next. That's crazy. So I wonder if there's going to be like gas and stuff like that. We don't know, but this looked fucking incredible. I am so excited to play this fucking game. I cannot wait to play this. It kind of feels like a Forza Horizon Mario Kart, and everybody online, the conversation was just like, this is amazing. Like, they really nailed it. This is really cool. Really cool. This is going to launch the same day as the Switch 2, and we're going to get into the launch date here in a second. There will be a dedicated Mario Kart World Direct on April 17th, so 2 weeks from tomorrow, I believe. Tomorrow's the 3rd. Yeah, it will be 2 weeks from tomorrow. So I cannot wait to see that. They're going to do a deep dive on the game. We're going to see some more. But this looks really fucking good, man. Hats off to Nintendo. Like, they came out the gate swinging, so we're really excited for this. Then they went over the new Joy-Cons. The right Joy-Con, remember everybody kept saying there's another button on there, there's another button. What is that button? That button is the C button, and that actually pulls up a chat menu. So they also have the Switch 2 has a camera peripheral. It stands like, it's not like a PlayStation camera where you like, attach it to your TV or something like this. This actually has like a stand that it sits on, vertical stand. It is obviously sold separately. It's going to be available the same day as the console. Didn't see any pricing on that. We'll have to check on that. The Switch 2 unit itself has a built-in microphone. The microphone has some sort of noise cancellation. So if you're playing online and you're playing with your friends and there's background noise in your area, it will cancel it out. The chat menu also pulls up little screens so you can see what your friends are playing if you guys aren't playing the same game and stuff like that. You can share gameplay and stuff like that. This looks really cool. The UI, they actually didn't show off the UI because I think it's the same UI from the Switch. It just looks sharper and cleaner. It looks more mature, I guess you could say. But that's very interesting. Maybe there's going to be like another video that Nintendo will just drop on their YouTube channel today where they show the UI of the system and stuff like that, but it kind of looked like, from what we saw, that it was the same UI, just cleaned up a bit more. Instead of like flat colors, they look like really sharp and like not exactly metallic, but like you could see like, light source and stuff like that in there, but didn't really get to see the UI. Where was I at? Oh, so the Nintendo Switch Online membership is required to use the chat menu and all that stuff. However, everyone can use it till March 31st of next year. So that's going to run till March 31st of 2026. And there's some other Nintendo online stuff I'm going to get to in a second anyway. Just a second here. It looks really good. The game share works with up to 3 systems at a time, including the Nintendo Switch, only with compatible games. So the backwards compatible thing we found out today, that's not exactly 100% across the board, but that's not surprising. Not every PlayStation 4 game was compatible with the PlayStation 5 at launch. It's nothing to flip out about. I believe pretty much your entire Xbox library was compatible when you went from the One to the Series X and S. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it was. But I know for the PlayStation 4, all of those games were not available backward compatible on the PlayStation 5 day one. So nothing to flip out about. I'm sure support will be added later, depending on how it goes. We do have a bigger screen. It's 7.9 inches, double the pixels compared to the Switch. It is the Switch itself in handheld. I'm sorry. On the regular Switch was 720. This one is 1080p in handheld, up to 120 frames per second. LCD, HDR support. We're gonna get into the dock now. Joy-Con stuff. Joy-Con 2 controllers connect magnetically. SL and SR buttons are bigger as well as the sticks itself. Joy-Cons work as a mouse. We found that out a little while back, as well as for supportable games. Better speakers. Again, there's the built-in microphone for voice chat. 3D audio. The Switch 2 has 256 gigs of internal storage on board. The new dock does have 4K support for compatible games and HDR. They showed some stuff, and then they showed it on the running on the new hardware, and it looks amazing. I just thought about it. We heard about that whole NVIDIA DLSS, and they didn't mention that anywhere here. I wonder. I'm gonna have to go check the Nintendo website because they didn't mention that anywhere in here. So I don't know if that's where we're going to get to the Switch 2 enhanced games and stuff like that, but they did not mention that. The new dock is a bit bigger. It's rounder on the backside because it has an internal fan. The OG Switch dock does not have a fan in it. This one does. Again, like I said, the UI looks the same, only cleaned up and a bit sharper. Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour game. It's basically a social hub and tutorial for the console that's going to launch the same day as the console itself, and that is digital only. Micro SD cards used for the original Switch are not compatible with the Switch 2. Let you know that right up front. You can transfer data from the Switch to the Switch 2. It seems that Nintendo is trying to let us use our libraries going forward, which is really dope. Finally, but again, as I said, I think earlier in this episode in part one, that when you purchase virtual console games, they didn't really go over. So it seems like they're getting in line with the rest of the world as far as gaming goes. Obviously, with the fact that they are now going up to 1080 60, 4K 60. They didn't mention ray tracing or anything like that. And again, they didn't mention the NVIDIA stuff. So I don't know if there's more technical specs or anything like that on the website. Let's just pull up the Nintendo website really quickly. See if we got some tech specs. Or let's just find out if it does have DLSS. Does Nintendo Switch 2 have DLSS? Based on reports, but nothing coming out of today that says it 100% does have DLSS. So I don't know. We'll look more into that as time passes. The Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller looks great. C button for game chat as well as an audio jack, and then they have these extra 2 buttons on the back hand of the controller. They are programmable. Kind of get into what these other controllers are doing, these modded Pro controllers and stuff like that. So Nintendo, I think they hear the chatter and the noise out there, and they're like, okay, we understand we have to be better. The console will launch on June 5th of 2025. There is the standard version, and then there's the Mario Kart World Bundle. The standard version is $449.99, and then the Mario Kart World Bundle is $499.99. So $450 or $500, depending on which bundle you get. Truthfully, with Mario Kart World being available day one, you might as well just get the bundle if it's available, because you're going to spend the extra money on the game. Interestingly enough, they did not talk about pricing of games either, and we're going to get into some more on that. So, there's 3 type of games: Switch 2 games, compatible games from the Switch 1, and then Switch 2 Edition games, improve visuals and performance. Remember when we talked about how they showed off Breath of the Wild running on Switch 2 hardware and people were like, it looked better? That was a Switch 2 edition of Breath of the Wild. So Here's the thing. You don't just pop it in and the system does the work for you. You have to buy the upgrade pack for the Switch 2 edition. Um, no free update. I saw the conversation immediately went online to, so this is anti-consumer because when PlayStation does it, it's anti-consumer, and Microsoft does it for free. And a lot of people were like, no, it's not the same. And it's like, no, it's exactly the same. And the worst part is, we know the PlayStation upgrades generally run $10 to $15. We don't even have a price on what these upgrade packs are going to cost. We don't know that yet. We don't know the price of games or any of that stuff. But the games that will have an upgraded pack, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, offer HDR, better frame rates, and stuff like that. The Switch Online app will be renamed and works with games. There's QR codes and stuff like that. It gives you in-game help. It's like they kind of looked at PlayStation like, I see what you're doing over there where you're adding these tips and things like that, and that's the kind of thing I want to do. I'm not saying they're copying PlayStation, but you can clearly see that they took cues from what PlayStation did with the PlayStation 5 and the app and stuff like that. Again, the Switch 2 edition games will be Metroid Prime Beyond. Remember, this is a cross-gen title, kind of like Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess was with the GameCube and the Wii, and then Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was with the Wii U and the Switch. Metroid Prime Beyond 4K 60 or 1080 120 frames, both with HDR, Switch 2 edition. So if you want to play this game with the best visuals, best frame rate, you best get the Switch 2 and play it on there because you're going to have options. Also, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Mario Party Jamboree, Pokemon Legends Z and A, and of course, like I said, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Again, we do not know the price of these upgrade packs, so stay tuned. As soon as I get this information, I will pass it along. Dragon Drive, it's like a wheelchair basketball game, uses the mouse function of the Joy-Con 2. That's coming this summer. Third-party games coming to the Switch 2. Elden Ring Tarnished Edition, Hades 2, which I definitely will be playing on the Switch 2. Street Fighter 6, apparently we're getting amiibos coming back. Damien Ex Machina, Split Fiction, which everybody's been raving about, that's coming to the Switch 2. EA Sports FC, that's coming. EA Madden is going to come to the Switch 2. Hogwarts Legacy, same day as the launch of the console. If I'm not mistaken, didn't that come to the original Switch and it was pretty bad? So I guess this one's going to make it run better. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. I know a lot of people are a little excited about that. Hitman World of Assassination. That's also the same day as the console launch, which is June 5th. Project 007. We don't know any more about that. Again, that's IO Interactive. They're the perfect people to make this because of the Hitman game. It just flows with what they do. We know it's going to come to the Switch 2. We don't know any more about Project 007. Hopefully we find out a little more this summer. Brave and Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster. That's also coming the same day the console launches. And then Koei Tecmo again is working with Nintendo Legend of Zelda Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. This is a story that leads into Tears of the Kingdom. This covers all the stuff about Ganon being imprisoned and all the stuff with Rauru and Minoru and the Zonai and stuff like that. So it's another Hyrule Warriors game, but with certain aspects of it. I am not going to be able to play this game unless the Switch 2 really helps the frame rate. Those Dynasty Warriors / Hyrule Warriors games, they give me a headache. I cannot play them. It's really, really fucking bad. Everybody's like, well, you wear glasses now. Try it with your glasses. I'm like, I still just don't want to put myself in that position, so we're going to chill out on that. But if I hear things, I might go into it. It does look good, though. Nintendo Switch Online account transfers over to your Switch 2, and then Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack gives you, drum roll please, Nintendo GameCube only on Switch 2. The GameCube stuff will not come to the OG Switch. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2 with Link, F-Zero GX, those are coming. More titles to be added in the future. It comes with a wireless GameCube controller with C button. Launches the same day as the console, only for Switch Online members. My question is this. I believe I saw a USB port on the dock. I'm wondering if my GameCube controller tap will plug into the Switch 2 dock like it plugs into the current Switch dock, because I had bought that and a GameCube controller to play Super Smash Ultimate on the Switch, so I'm hoping that still works. Select games from Switch Online systems, NES, Genesis, SNES, etc., are playable on the Switch 2. Again, that's select games. That's not all games. Um, Little more on third-party support. Deltarune is going to launch the same day as the console. Borderlands 4 will launch on the Switch 2 as well as the PC, PlayStation 5, Series X and S. All those consoles is coming to Switch 2 as well. Civilization 7 with Joy-Con mouse support is coming to the Switch 2. NBA 2K and WWE 2K are both coming to Switch 2. Um, the stream went out for a moment and everybody's flipping out because we heard there's this one game. I didn't catch the name of it because the visual stopped. There was still audio. And then everybody in the chat on every channel you watched, they were like, switch to the Nintendo UK uh, stream. So it kind of looked like, I don't know, kind of like grounded on an island, but they weren't miniature people. I don't know. Anyway, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition is coming to the Switch on console launch day. So third party is going all out. Nintendo really fixed their relationship with third party after the Wii. The Switch did it, and it looks like the Switch 2 is going to improve on that. Also, this tidbit, and I found this very interesting. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is coming to the Switch 2. I will be playing that on the Switch 2. I played it on the PlayStation 5, of course. I'm sorry, I played it on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. I don't have it on PC, but I will definitely be getting this on Switch 2. Hollow Knight Silk Song, Wild Hearts S is coming in July. Marvel Cosmic Invasion, Star Wars Outlaws is coming to the Switch 2. And then, From Software developing a new game only playable on the Switch 2. It is coming in 2026, and this is directed by Miyazaki. The Dusk Bloods. A lot of people thought it was Bloodborne for a second or Bloodborne 2. A lot of people thought it was a Castlevania game being done by From Software, but no, it's called The Dusk Bloods. Just finding out a little more online, it is a multiplayer game. But again, this is only going to be on the Switch 2. This is coming 2026. Again, I'm not a From Software guy. I saw some people online saying they're using the exact same assets they've just been recycling, and that's how they're churning out these games so quickly. I don't know. Not my business. And then we got the last few games that they were going to show off. Kirby Air Raiders, that's directed by Sakurai. That's coming in 2025. So this is what Sakurai is working on, apparently, instead of the next Smash Brothers games. I have no problem with that. Maybe you want to get some new blood on Smash. I have no issue with that. But Sakurai's working on a new Kirby Air Riders. Kirby Air Riders was done before. This is like a retelling of it, or it's not a remaster. I guess it's a full remake. Then we have a 3D platforming Donkey Kong called Donkey Kong Bonanza. It looks amazing. Before we saw DK, everybody thought it was the new 3D Mario game, but it is a 3D Donkey Kong platformer. Again, that's Donkey Kong Bonanza, and that's coming July 17th of 2025. Again, there's two bundles. There's the standard Switch 2, and then there's the Switch 2 Mario Kart World bundle. Again, the pre-orders start a week from today, April 9th. $449.99 for the standard version, $499.99 for the Mario Kart World bundle. The game cards are red this time instead of black like the OG Switch, and there is no achievement system. But again, didn't hear anything about DLSS or anything like that. I am very excited about this. I thought Nintendo absolutely knocked it out the park. If you had to ask me for my grade on this, I would give it 8.5 to 9 out of 10. I thought this was a phenomenal fucking direct. Nintendo did their homework. They took everything they did with the Switch and they made it better for the Switch too. Funny thing is, I just started replaying Tears of the Kingdom on Sunday. I have two profiles on my Switch, so I was like, well, I'll just play it on my other profile. And I'm like, oh, well, now I have to play the Switch 2 edition of it. Now, I don't know if I'm willing to pay the full price for a whole new game. So I'm not going to be like, well, I'm paying for it wherever it is. But if it's 10 to 15, even $20, it's not that bad for me. It's not that bad. Do I wish that other games would get the treatment? Mario Odyssey, I think, would look dope with a Switch 2 upgrade pack. Um, I can't see my Switch library because it's on the other side of this TV, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I want to see more. I want to see more of a deep dive on the UI and stuff like that on the system. I want to get prices on the upgrade pack, all this stuff. I want to find out if this DLSS is really baked in like we were told it was going to be. All of these things. You will find out soon enough. But again, the launch date is June 5th, which we have been told. Well, we weren't told the date, but we were told it was going to be June. That's going to put us right in the summer game season. I expect Nintendo to have another direct around that time, and I would expect to see the first Mario title that's going to come to the hardware. Um, I didn't see an Ocarina of Time remake, which isn't a big deal, but I thought it would have been cool. A lot of people really, really wanted to see something like that, or a Link to the Past remake would have been dope. I think a Link to the Past would look really, really dope in the Link's Awakening slash Echoes engine. I think that would be really, really dope. It kind of goes back to that era of the SNES, so I think that would be really cool. But all in all, like I said, 8.5 to 9. I was really impressed with the direct. It looks really good. It's crazy that Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is coming to the Switch too, and it still isn't on the Xbox. But that's why I keep telling everybody, these so-called Xbox insiders, it's like, we're getting Final Fantasy, it's coming, they're going to announce it this time, and it's like, it's not. Maybe that means they will announce it at the Xbox showcase this summer. I don't know. Um, Maybe if we check the trailer later, it'll say Nintendo Switch 2 and then it'll have the Xbox stuff there as well. I can tell you one thing, it more than likely is not going to be on Game Pass. I don't see Square Enix just giving that game away. But yeah, man, I thought it was really good. I thought it was a good direct. I was very excited. Seems like everybody is. And we're all looking forward to next week to pre-order, and looks like we're all looking forward to June. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up like I do all the time. Believe in yourself first and foremost, because if you don't believe in yourself, of course, nobody else will believe in you. As always, my name is Derrick Lamon Jackson, and that is my time. Y'all have a good one. Peace out. So I'm back really quickly. I just finished recording, of course, and then I closed out of it, and then I jumped on Twitter, and we got game prices. Now, I don't see anything about the upgrades, but we do have game prices. Mario Kart World Tour $79.99 MSRP. Apparently, Switch 2 games digitally will be $80, and it will be $90 for physical games. Um, so everybody talking about how Grand Theft Auto 6 was gonna be $100. I would not be surprised if Take Two goes $100 at this point. If Nintendo's going 80 for digital and 90 for physical, this is insane. Like, this is absolutely insane. This tells me one thing. I'm not going to have a physical library for my Switch 2. I'm just not going to spend $90 on a physical copy of a game. This is absolutely insane. This is going to be madness on the timeline. This is absolutely crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Wow. Yeah. So it is confirmed. So digital titles will be $80 and physical titles will be $90. I think Nintendo's gone a bit too fucking far. Like, Tears of the Kingdom was the first Switch game to go to $70. The fact that they're jumping this crazy is insane. Wow. Wow. This is absolutely insane. Wow. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. Again, still don't have any information about the upgrade packs for the Switch 2 editions of games, but we have pricing on the games themselves, and this is absolutely insane. So yeah, I'm not gonna have a physical. I was trying to do all physical library for my Switch, and I was gonna do the same for Switch 2. That's not gonna happen with the Switch 2. I'm not paying $90 for a physical game, because once you have to remember, you're paying 90, and then you have to pay tax because you're buying it in store. You're adding sales tax onto that. That's $100 for a game. Like, Nintendo has really lost their fucking minds. I just can't believe this. So this is also why I said, if you're going to pre-order, you might as well just do the Mario Kart World bundle and pay the 5 flat, because if you pre-order and just get the stand and just get the system, well, it's 70 for the game itself. I'm sorry, 80 for the game itself if you do digital, and then it's 90 if you do physical. you might as well just go ahead and do the Mario Kart bundle and eat the tax on that, and then you'll already have your copy of the game. But this is absolutely insane. This is absolutely insane. And I still think they're going to have a good generation, but this reminds me of Sony launching the PlayStation 3, a $500 console and a $600 console. This is insane. I cannot believe this. So I will have more information as it pours out. Again, that's all I got for you guys. Have a good one. Peace.